What's up guys, so if you are new to my channel, my name is Andrea, some people like to call me Dre, and today I'm gonna sort of be answering a really highly requested question and also just like a story time video. One of like the most asked questions, like for me anyway, is people always saying, oh, so how did you get into streetwear? You know, when did you start wearing these brands, blah blah. And also, sorry if my voice sounds really bad. I've currently so ill. The past 6 days, like, I've just been in bed. So I sound more like a man than usual. I'm sorry. So yeah, how did I get into streetwear? It's an interesting story, I guess. So when people ask me that, people assume that, you know, Supreme is like streetwear. I started off with brands like Stussy and Huff and 10 Deep and Thrasher. Those were the streetwear brands that I started wearing before I got into Supreme and Bape and other brands. So when I was about 12, 13, I touched on it before, but basically I was very, very bullied in school. I was bullied for a number of reasons. First of all, like my weight, and some people like to remind me here as well, like I am aware I am not skinny, but I used to get quite bullied on the size and the way I dressed, because I did dress in a lot of like boy clothing. I wasn't a very feminine girl. I wore a lot of band merch. I was very heavily into like my punk, as some people have seen like my emo photos. I'll try to put a few up here. So I was very much into like Blink-182, System of a Down, that sort of music, Bring Me the Horizon, and they were all very, you know, fuck this, fuck that, like that was their attitude, and there was a lot of skating involved in those videos. And I was a very angry child just because I used to get bullied a lot, so I was pushed onto the internet at a very young age, and at that time it was mostly like Tumblr. I know Tumblr isn't really like a thing that much now, it's more Instagram. I started going on Tumblr a lot, and I started like this skate/urban blog, that's what I used to call it. And I used to just reblog loads of skaters because I don't know, I found it really interesting, and you know, all the music that I listened to, loads of their music videos had a lot of skateboarding in and just like fucking shit up, and it was just like, cool, okay, that's what I liked. So I started that blog up, and obviously naturally like what the skaters were wearing I was aware of. I saw brands like Supreme and things like that, but at that time I was very young. It never really fazed me. I was just like, alright, cool, another skate brand, like whatever. And I think the very big difference from then and now is that there's a lot of young people into streetwear now, whereas before it wasn't really like, my parents wouldn't really give me that money to be spending on Supreme. They were like, you're a child, you have better things to be spending your money on. Okay, the treat, like the occasional treat, will get you a bit of Stussy, will get you a bit of Thrasher, like fine, but I didn't really wear a lot of branded clothing. I was very much into my Drop Dead as well. It was Oliver Sykes clothing brand, so I bought Drop Dead because I loved Oliver Sykes, and that was his brand from Bring Me the Horizon. So yeah, I was very much on Tumblr. I started talking to a lot of people online because I didn't have friends in real life, and I'm not like ashamed to say that, like that's just how it happened. And I did start YouTube actually at that very young age, but it was more like stupid like cinnamon challenges and stuff like that. So yeah, I was just on Tumblr a lot, and then I started meeting up with these people. Luckily they were actually like genuine people, so it was fine. I made like Tumblr meetups and things like that. A couple years later, met up with loads of skaters. They like teaching me about the culture and like just showing me things, and like I got into skating. I started to skate, not like that much, but it was just a hobby that I had started to do. I was a very scared child as well. My dad attempted to teach me how to skate like as a very, very young child, but I just couldn't do it. He got really brave. He bombed it down a hill and broke his arm. So that skateboard was thrown under the staircase, never to be touched. He was like, no, I broke my arm, you ain't getting on it. But now I was older, I was like, cool, whatever, fuck it, I'll get on it. So yeah, I learned how to skate, and then all my friends that I'd made, they were all wearing Supreme, and I was like, alright, well, so what is this brand? Like obviously, like you guys are wearing it, it's something that like you obviously identify yourself with. And they taught me about the brand, blah blah, and this is when Supreme store had just opened in London. So I knew about like other stores. Like I used to go to Hideout, which isn't around anymore, and they stocked a lot of like Odd Future merch in there as well. So I used to go to the store Hideout, but yeah, I was like, well, okay, let's go check the store out. And then yeah, so the store was open, I visited it a couple of times, and then I realised, you know, people would camp out for certain things that I started to want. And this is when I had a lot more money because I was older. So I was like to Mum, all right, can I camp out? And she looked at me and she's like, girl, you're like 16, 17 years old. First of all, I'm not gonna let you camp out in Soho with all these grown men, because at that time, Supreme's target audience were not 14, 15-year-olds, which are like now. It was more actual like grown men, older teenagers. If you look at like a few articles from when the Supreme store first opened, you'll see like the people in the queue. There's not that many young people, it's very much the older people. So she's like, there's no way in hell I'm letting you camp out in Soho at night time with all these older guys that you have no idea who they are. Which like in hindsight, like, okay, it makes sense, obviously you shouldn't be doing that. So yeah, and then I just started camping only recently when I got a bit older. A guy called Taylor. Loads of people will probably watch this know who he is. This was when Supreme Talk was a very busy group. He messaged me like, look, I'm gonna be at this camp out. We've met up once or twice because I took some photos of him, and he was like, just come to a camp out with me. You've met me, like I'll look after you. So I met Taylor at the camp out, and then that's when I just started mingling with more people and just making more friends. And then yeah, I guess slowly my knowledge about streetwear grew a lot more, and I didn't realize it was such a big culture. Obviously when I started getting into it at a young age, it wasn't really about the branding, it was more based on comfort. Like I didn't look at streetwear as like these like big brands. I just sort of saw it as like, this is what skaters wear. Obviously now it's changed and the target audience has changed, and that's why there's that whole argument like between, you know, you can't skate, you don't know about skate culture, you shouldn't wear this, shouldn't wear that. And I can sort of understand where that point of view comes from, but yeah, that's pretty much how I got into streetwear really. And now I'm here, 20 years old, 21 this year. So I guess that's not like a long time compared to other people, but it's quite a long time for me. So yeah, that's pretty much the story of how I got into it, and I hope you did enjoy this little video, little story time, and I'll see you guys very soon in another video. For the giveaway, the deadline is the 10th of January, and then I'll be picking the names out of the bowl in front of you guys so you can see who has won. And yeah, if you really enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. Remember, you know, share love. It's not a competition, guys. Like, it's all that deep. Let's just be happy. Because I know loads of people get really aggressive, like who got into it first. Like, doesn't matter, we're all here now, let's just get along. But yeah, so I hope you enjoyed my video. Remember to subscribe, and yeah, the next video will be a Q&A. Have a nice day. Bye.